our last remake. As we do once again get into this game, we are going to have the absolute last opportunity. We have seen all the picks. Nothing will be changing, ladies and gentlemen. Omni, you still with me here, buddy?
I'm around.
Fantastic. So you ready to see some League of Legends?
I most certainly am looking at it right now on my screen.
There you go.
We already have this champion select down and basically.
And this should be the fastest pick bans of all time.
Boom. Fresh. And then let's see, Lucian. I don't even actually remember the teams because they've been up in front of my face and gone 3 times.
Yeah, it is Thresh, Lucian, Amumu, Aatrox, Vladimir.
Right. And then Jarvan, Sivir, Lulu, Karma, and Trundle.
That is correct, sir. You are correct, sir.
Yes. The Omni's back. All right.
So, sorry about the delay to everyone. Seems we've had a little bit of technical difficulties and a little bit of misunderstandings. But we should be getting to Champion Select very shortly. So, I do like the Vladimir pick against the Trundle. I did say that from in the last game, that the early Trundle pick did leave him very susceptible to AP champions that he cannot do his tankiness debuff and attack damage debuffs too. So always very good picks. The Aatrox is also someone who I think we could see fare relatively well against Trundle should we choose to put him up there, being that he works mostly off of attack speed and a couple of different steroids that he has going on. So I am very very excited to see how these lanes play out.
Now, once again, they're running this double teleport strategy. It didn't work out in the last game. I wouldn't say it was bad. They had a couple really good plays, and they were able to answer any push with, a double teleport if they needed to. And it was part of the factor of the huge early play in the last game. But I feel like there's not as much power from a teleport Aatrox as there is from like an Ignite Aatrox.
Well, one of the big things...
It all depends on how the team fights are going to go.
One of the big problems I see with it is it does pretty much just pigeonhole your support into going with an Ignite so that you do have that Ignite on your team so that you can deal with anybody who has a lot of lifesteal or a lot of really heavy sustain. And that prevents you from running an Exhaust. An Exhaust against someone like Trundle or Sivir, who is going to get up there and get you with a lot of attack speed and just a wail on you, just nonstop. That's an incredibly powerful tool to have in your back pocket against them.
It is, and since they're not able to run that, unless, Thresh didn't want to run Flash or something, but since they don't get to run that, they're not. It's that extra little bit of peel that Exhaust provides in the damage reduction, in the attack speed slow, and everything that it brings, that sometimes can be the turning fight in a team fight more so than an Ignite.
Although the extra peel that it brings may not be quite as essential for the Lucian, being that he does have that incredibly short cooldown reposition, as well as he does have an Amumu and a Thresh who can both AoE screen for him. So that's always something to keep in mind as well.
He's probably not gonna miss that Exhaust peel too much unless he gets caught out. But on that side, like what is there to catch him out though is the real thing. Like there's the only real hard CC in this time coming around is the Polymorph and the Jarvan combo, and I guess technically the ultimate. Outside of that, everything's a slow, a root. There's no actual hard CC other than 2 knockups.
Yeah, and the slow and root, he doesn't care about, because when he repositions, it does clear all of his slowing and binding effects. I do believe Relentless Pursuit. Is that how you work?
I think it's just the slows.
All slowing effects.
E out of a snare.
Cannot get out of a snare. Nope, but he can get out of the slows that Karma, Trundle, and Lulu will all be providing. And he can also use that Relentless Pursuit to get over the Jarvan wall, I believe, if it is used correctly.
Yes. Well, basically, as long as correctly means out, yeah.
Yeah, as long as correctly means you are standing at the edge and you point it at the Jarvan wall, because as we all know, Jarvan wall doesn't really have collision.
I mean, sometimes it does.
Only when it's inconvenient for your team.
Yeah, you know. He's helping, alright? Give him a break.
Jarvan's helping. He's helping you.
Oh, he's helping somebody.
He's definitely helping
himself.
somebody. And we do actually see two people who can get out of the Jarvan Cataclysm very easily. The Aatrox also being able to use that Dark Flight, I believe is what it's called. And then two people who don't care about being in the Jarvan Ultimate. So I guess we will see how these matchups go down as we load into the Rift. Back shortly. Alright, and here we are back onto the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, as we do see some early pings coming out from Ohana, actually, indicating where they plan on going. Not sure if we will see an invade yet at this point. Also, not 100% on how to set up these lanes, as I'm not entirely sure where Aatrox or Vladimir are going. But I do expect Aatrox to show up in the mid.
Yeah, Aatrox looks to be going mid with his Null Magic Mantle, and Vladimir looks to be going top with his Cloth Armor.
And we did see some pings.
Defensively.
We did see some pings for them to set up defensively. They are pinging onto this tri-bush that,
however,
4 members of Ohana are sitting just outside of.
And not in vision range.
They are not, but they will be as soon as they go around the corner. Vladimir is going to see them, does try and make a break for it. A lot of damage going down onto him, does get hit by both ends of that Boomerang Blade, and a little bit of harass, but good discipline not to burn any summoners there. Does make it out and is going to go B, and we do see, once again, it's going to be a red buff trade by these two teams.
Well, Karma scaled W first, which means that her in-lane harass is actually going to be really low for the early level. Unless she's able to actually fully land that route. And then, you know, Sivir gets a good trade in there as well. But not having that Q poke and not having the shield as the other options to start with might be a little difficult for her in the early game. In the first couple of levels against a Thresh.
Speaking of difficult early game, I do think we might see this Aatrox struggle just a little bit with the Lulu.
Well,
Although
we'll probably see Vladimir struggle in a 2v1 since that's what's going on top.
it is, but you know, Vladimir does farm remarkably well under the tower. He was a go-to 2v1 pick there for quite a little bit of time.
And lucky for him, he started the cloth armor, so he's actually going to be pretty okay in that lane for a while. But he's going to have to worry about the poke from Logert and the boomerang blades from Altus coming across like that.
Definitely going to have to worry about
Aatrox
the boomerang blades if he doesn't get out of the way of it. Aatrox very low.
Yeah, Aatrox in the mid lane is going to be hurt just a little bit for the early bits. He's going to be zoned off fairly, because the melee against a ranged champion is just... It's hard enough as it is, but Lulu being fairly strong right now, going to be...
Once he gets a couple levels under his belt, though, he should be alright. He does have a lot of really good inbuilt sustain. The real question, though, is he going to be able to live long enough to make that happen? And he does appear to be doing a pretty good job of staying out of harass range, but still getting those auto attacks down to get himself healed back up.
Garvin shows up in the top lane to start the push.
And we do see Lulu actually rotating up as well to help with this push. Damage going down onto Altus does take a lot of tower shots as he puts damage down onto Vladimir. Vladimir now very low, though. Does get hit by the glitter lance, forced to flash out. And this is again going to be another very early tower attempt by Ohana as they push into this top lane tower. Now, the top lane tower does have the... Oh, but here comes, yep, a movement to stop, and he's going to take some harass for his trouble. Vladimir still very low, taking both sides of those boomerang blades again. And now it looks like the siege is actually in the bot lane. Starbucks comes out a little bit too far from his tower and takes a lot of harass in response.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a harder time down there against Thresh Lucian this time. They deal a significant chunk of damage easier. He's going to be able to be hooked out from under that tower and not have quite the same defenses that he had before. Up in the top lane, we see Vladimir backed off to heal while Amumu holds off the three-man push, which he's actually doing fairly well. And holding that tower all the same.
Yeah, and we actually see Vladimir doing a better job of farming under the tower than Trundle this time. Gonna take down a ward, get a little bit harassed for his trouble, but you know, it's harass on the jungler who really cares about that.
Well, I mean, the camps would.
The camps would.
Yeah,
And
no, not really.
now we see a little bit of harass actually going down onto Sivir as she was left alone for a little bit there. Starbucks is going to need to think about starting to get out of here as his tower does go down. And it looks like Lucian's going to use Relentless Pursuit to get in, put a little bit of auto attack down, and that's going to be the end of that.
So despite the three-man push up top, Lucian and Thresh are able to take their tower first due to Vladimir's wave clear and Amumu's assistance.
Yeah, and it was actually at one point a four-man push up top, too.
Yeah, Lulu came up.
Oh,
Speaking of Lulu, she's getting jumped on by Aatrox a little bit. And like you said, once he got a couple levels under his belt, he hurts. He hurts a lot. And he can get onto Lulu fairly easily.
He does hurt a lot, and he does have a lot of sustain. And I do believe this Aatrox was an inadvertent pick, but it seems to actually be doing pretty okay for him at this point in the game. So,
pretty decently on farm.
And now we do see Lucian and Thresh rotating up into the top lane, like they're going to make a quick trade.
2v2. Now that they won their lane, they're going to come up and defend the lane that the duo is in. And you see immediately Sivir and Karma back off to their tower. It looks like they want to recall. They might not want to fight this 2v2 lane right now.
Yeah, it definitely appears they don't want to, especially I do believe Sivir was pretty low and out of mana. Lulu looks like she might...
up here.
Oh, they are still here.
They're probably not for long, though. Sivir got chunked down to about 200 health. Not very much mana. She has to spell shield a hook or something to get mana left. No mana on Karma as well, so they have to be very careful. They don't have much wave clear outside of auto attacks right now. And if one hook lands...
Oh, and a hook does land onto Sivir, and it is going to be first blood. Ignite ticking down onto Lucian. He does take one tower shot, not enough to even break the shield. I believe he popped his... No, did not pop his barrier. That was all Thresh Shield. Very well coordinated. Oh, and we do see Aatrox goes in pretty hard, takes a tower shot for his trouble. Move advantage, not quite able to hit.
Revive passive still.
And he does still have the Blood Well, so he could make this a dive if he wanted to. Oh, Hook does go down onto Karma. Karma brought very low, but here comes Jarvan. Jarvan not able to pick up the kill, and the Dark Passage used by Thresh to bring over Lucian after he flashes over the wall. Although Jarvan able to pick up the kill onto Thresh with that Q combo. And now Amumu coming in. Ping's coming down onto Lucian as he tries to escape. Amumu might be giving his life here because Lulu has responded. She is 6, does get the Glitter Lance down, brings Amumu down very slow, and that is an EQ combo from Jarvan to pick up that kill. Makes the trade ultimately a 2-for-1, as all they got out of that trade was Karma.
Look at this Vladimir damage onto Starbucks. Trundle's getting beat up in this lane. Now that, since he didn't have to lane against the early Trundle power, he's been able to ramp up to his level 6. He's already got his ultimate. He hasn't had to fight Trundle yet. So he's coming in actually fairly strong against Trundle already, whereas Trundle doesn't have any defensive items yet.
Yeah, and Trundle does still has picked up a longsword, probably still going for that Blade of the Ruined King first, which may not be the best choice here against a Vladimir. You know, you want to fight Vladimir when he's pre 6. You want to fight him when he's levels 1 through 3. Maybe doesn't have all his tools, doesn't have quite the ability to output sustained damage as he does once he starts getting higher levels. And then once he gets to level 9, if you don't have any magic resistance to deal with him, you're just really not going to be doing anything. Sivir appears to be having some trouble. Possible disconnect issue here.
No pause.
Sivir is brought down.
DC.
It is a disconnect issue, and we do see a pause
There's the pause.
But unfortunately, a little bit too late to save Sivir's life.
Oh well, so let's see what we've got so far. Not much, 9 minutes in. We do see, let's see, Amumu's going for the Golem Spirit, and Jarvan's going for the Lizard Spirit, so more of a damage build coming out of the 2-0 Jarvan, and more of a tank going to be coming out of the Mumu there. Jarvan's built him, or I'm sorry, not Jarvan, Aatrox, the other guy with the big weapon. He's got himself a Hex Drinker and boots, whereas Lulu has herself a Chalice, which, well, I guess Aatrox does a decent amount of magic damage, but it's not like game breaking. Most of his damage is just based around attack speed and just beats you up really quickly. The AD carries are fairly even, except for the fact that Sivir's died twice and Lucian's got 2 kills. He should be able to pick him up something nice here soon. He's got 2k in the bank himself, Lucian that is. And the only advantage we see for the supports is Thresh has his oh, what's the level 2 coin called? Nomad's Medallion, whereas Karma still has the Spell Thief's Edge.
And the Spell Thief's Edge is the level 1, is that correct?
Yes, it's Spell Thief's Edge, Frost Fang, and then Frost Queen's Claim.
Fantastic. I'm glad you know these things because I don't play support.
I main support, so I have to know.
I think the real alarming thing that
coin,
that Ohana needs to be on the lookout for here is their Sivir is 0-2. One of those deaths being due in large part to connectivity issues, I do believe. But Lucian's 2-0. And they are both relatively mid-game focused AD carries. So when that mid-game hits, Lucian's going to be no small amount more powerful than Sivir. Especially as he is probably going to try and shove this wave up to the tower and once again deny her golden experience. Due to the fact that she is not currently in lane. You see,
a summoner has reconnected.
Ooh, Altus is reconnected, so hopefully we will see a resume here in just a moment. We do see Jarvan actually having quite a bit more farm than Amumu, even though Amumu did stay in the lane for a while, and should have been able to pick up some lane farm. And Jarvan also has 2 kills. He has both of the kills on his team. which means he's going to be looking to get some very early damage and try and help snowball those lanes. You see the unpause countdown. And once again, we are back into the game. During that pause, I was looking at bot lane. We did see Trundle go back, and when he returned to the lane, was immediately brought down to a health level that, once again, he felt he needed to go back at. Just a testament to the bully power of Vladimir once he passes that level 5, and then again when he passes that level 7 mark. I do see a Mumu coming in here for a not-so-subtle gank onto the mid lane. Jarvan, once again, off to the side, does go in onto Thresh. Thresh is brought very low. The Flay does trigger aggro from the tower. Jarvan uses the Cataclysm to jump out of the culling. Sivir comes in last second, does pick up the kill. This is a 1-for-1 trade. And the double buff is now on Sivir.
Double buff transfer complete. Karma actually chasing down Lucian. Lucian does relentless push it away. The flash boomerang though, and that's a second kill picked up to Sivir. And guess what? She's back.
And that was that actually all happened while I was looking at a gank in mid lane where Amumu did use his ultimate and did not seem to get anything for it. And now we have a trade going down into the bot lane. The pillar is used as well as the frozen domain, allowing Trundle to just do a lot of damage. Does use his ultimate to sap stats from Vladimir. Vladimir uses his ultimate and his pool to try and get away from Trundle, but it's not going to be enough. Trundle chomps on him once again, uses Frozen Domain, coming in again, the flash, but there is a Jarvan there, tries to get into the bush to get some spells out, but it's not quite enough, and there is a gank in bot lane, a two-man gank in bot lane, as here comes Aatrox and Amumu both. Aatrox uses the Dark Point to come in, and they are able to land the death sentence down onto Karma. Karma taken down in very short order, leaving Sivir to defend herself, to defend this tower alone in a 1v3 situation.
Yeah, everybody rotated up for the red side. Does mean a dragon for Ohana, however.
Yeah,
does pick up the advantage in the top lane, picking up Karma.
And this was a very good move by Lulu. While she did not follow that Aatrox rotation, did immediately respond with the rest of her team to the dragon threat. And it looks like Sivir is a little far out from the turret, and they are able to go on her between turrets without really any threat. It seemed like she was a little bit afraid of getting dived, so she moved back for the turret, but wasn't quite committed to running away. A little bit of an indecision made there.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Looks like Vladimir is going to pick up this pink ward that he knew was on Dragon. Gets his own clear timer on it. So at least he'll know when it comes back up.
Nice wave bot. So, big push still coming in from Lucian and Thresh. The double buffs are now on Lucian, by the way, I believe. So keep an eye on those double buffs as they start to get passed around all over the place.
Oh, and Lulu does manage to drop a ward onto Amumu right as he comes in. Amumu brought very low, does get the bandage toss off, immediately followed by Curse of the Sad Mummy, although Wild Growth is used, immediately popped up by Dark Flight, and Amumu is on the run, and now Aatrox stuck in a 2v1 situation. Thresh comes in, drops the Dark Passage to get the shield down onto Aatrox, and now it is a 3v2 with Thresh and Lucian both very low, although I do believe Lucian still has his blood pool. Decides he doesn't want to cash and try and defend this, but does decide he wants to go back in onto Trundle. Trundle brought incredibly low. The shield placed on Lulu might have been a missed target. Both their models were very close. And now this is a push that Ready Aim Oops is turning around into the mid lane.
Never falter.
They were getting pushed onto, now they are the pushers. We're trying to use a little bit of that Glitter Glance wave clear to keep them off of this. And here comes Jarvan from the side. He is able to get the Cataclysm down onto both Aatrox and Lucian. Lucian did not have Relentless Pursuit up. Very good use of, very good cooldown management there.
I was about to say, one good turn is all it takes to turn a push.
And we do see a Death Sentence Flay box going in onto Lulu. Lulu able to get clear, but now this push is renewing in full force by Ready Aim Moves.
Yeah, they've had a full 3 people dedicated to this tower push for the past couple of minutes, whereas Ohana's been trying to get some of their other people farmed. Sivir went top, Trumado went bottom. They're trying to hold off the push. They're taking some damage to the tower, but with the wave clear between Karma and Lulu specifically, in addition to everybody else who was there when they were. There's really good wave clear coming out from Ohana, so it's really hard to siege towers, especially with multiple melee champions.
Well, and now in this game we've actually only seen, it is 14 minutes, and we've only seen one tower and one dragon go down. Not quite as many objectives going down as quickly this time around. I think in large part due to Pretty Aim Oops' absolutely fantastic rotation to answer Ohana's initial 4-man push in the top lane.
All it took was the Amumu rotation to the top lane and was able to hold off that tower, which they still have.
Oh, and Aatrox goes in onto Lulu, but doesn't make anything happen out of it. And the help picks goes down onto Amumu for a lot of damage, immediately followed up by Glitter Lance. And there's the pop of the X-Drinker on Aatrox as well. Aatrox is forced to back out of this fight. He does have a health pot ticking, but it might not be enough. A lot of damage going down onto Sivir, though. That Boomerang Blade not hitting its intended target, which was anyone on the enemy team. But now Thresh as well. The culling does come down across the entirety of Ohana. Sivir getting, or Karma actually getting the Wild Growth being used to body block a lot of that damage. Wow, a lot of fighting going on in this mid lane. Both teams really want these mid turrets down. They are looking for objectives and only getting kills.
Both teams are looking to open up the map. By taking down this middle tower, whichever team does it first, they open up the enemy jungle to easier invades. It'll have a better time in this minute 30 when Dragon spawns. They'll have another safe place to run to that the enemy won't. I expect either a tower to fall right after the dragon fight, if there is a dragon fight, or in trade for dragon.
And this is about the time of the game that trading a tower for a dragon is relatively goal even. If you go much earlier than this, you really don't want to be trading anything. Oh, and Vladimir does try and defend this by himself, but uses the Blood Pool. Amumu comes in from the back with Curse of the Sad Mummy, but Thresh is too low to stay in this fight. Although now here comes Aatrox with the assistance from Vladimir, from the Vladimir ult. Aatrox is able to pick up a double kill. And but Jarvan is still here fighting. Jarvan is low though. Amumu chasing him using that forget what the name of that ability is. Despair to do a lot of damage to Jarvan as he just walks along behind him. I do believe that ended up being a double kill.
It ended up, so that play stemmed out from a couple of things. Ohana was finally able to catch a point where they were able to get the tower while RAO was rotating, but it ended up causing them to lose 3 of their own members and not able to get the mid tower in return, almost.
Very
so
close.
Overall, it was a mid tower for 3 lives and almost lost their middle tower as well.
Sivir get there just in time. Just barely in time.
Dragon just spawned. It is alive now, and here comes the warding shenanigans. Like they're clearing out the pink word.
Nice try.
Good spell shield on that death sentence, and now Thresh is there by himself. Does get rooted by Karma, but there is no follow-up to it. Mumu and Vladimir waiting in the wings, and it does not seem like Ohana has any idea that they're there. The bandage toss not quite landing. Now Mumu's in a bad situation. Is brought very low. Cataclysm does pick it up. The damage going out as the flash comes out as well, so that is also a burn flash by Amumu. Glitter Lance going down onto Vladimir, but Karma not quite able to follow it up with a slow of her own. And now we do see Ohana, the 5-man push, right here into this second mid-turret at 18 minutes. Culling comes down, being used to clear out some of the minions. Oh, and a Death Sentence does land onto Sivir, but she does use her spell shield to stop the damage from the Aatrox Q.
That was a scary moment there for a second.
It definitely could have gone very, very wrong for Sivir in quite a hurry. Very close game. This game only about a 700 gold difference. Oh, and here comes Aatrox, forcing Karma to flash out. Karma throws down a slow in response. Seems like Thresh might want to go for this, but his team not behind him. Just going to settle for the turret instead.
Alright, both mid lane towers finally picked up here. First tower finally went down for Ohana. That was the,
and we do see Jarvan comes in. Curse of the Sad Mummy does land onto 5 members, but Sivir able to spell shield it out, although Sivir runs back into a box and a Vladimir ultimate. She is brought down. Vladimir goes down as well, and this is an ace? Yes, it is. It is an ace at 19 minutes for Ready, Aim, Oops. A very well-executed fight. Sivir taking a lot of damage as Vladimir did dive into him.
They're going to pick up this tower for free right afterwards. So very, very good turn from Ready, Aim, Oops there to pick up the kills, have Thresh tank the tower, and get the second tower as well. However, with spawn timer still low, they don't want to stick around too long on this side of the map where they'll get picked out.
Especially not with how low that Aatrox is. His blood pool not up quite yet.
Yeah. How low that Aatrox is. Looks like he's getting some regen from the Wraiths.
Yeah.
Back up to that, though. Good for him.
That is something that Aatrox definitely has the ability to do. Has absolutely great sustain.
Oh, yeah. Mumu picking up his red buff. Lucian going top lane to see about picking up those golems. Maybe defend the tower as Trundle pushes it up. Vladimir in the bottom lane. He's going to get that pushing in Ready Aim Oops' favor, getting that pushing towards their base. Looks like as the 20-minute mark crests, there's no objective to fight for right now for either team. Dragon's off the board. There's no really good push on a tower yet, so both teams just roaming, looking for gold. Probably gonna see people make to look picks in the near future here. And eyes might be on Kisuke since he's a lone AD carry. Thresh is coming up though.
And Thresh is coming up, but so are Jarvan and Lulu. There are no wards. Oh, there is one ward on the part of Ready Aim Oops, and Lulu and Jarvan are walking into it now, but Lulu's got a lot of move speed that she can use. Does combo that with the Karma move speed and puts down a little bit of damage onto Thresh, although he is ticking a little bit as from the burn on the Lizard Stone. The Bandage Toss does come in, gets into the minion line. The Despair being used to just kind of deal damage passively. Jarvan turns around, does go really hard onto Lucian, and is not able to get him down. The Wild Growth is used on him to try and keep him alive, and immediately followed by a Death Sentence into a box. And down goes Jarvan with absolutely nothing to show for it. And this is 2 kills in favor of 3 kills. 4 kills in favor of Ready Aim Oops, as Sivir was not part of that fight. She was down in bot lane split pushing. Does manage to get a pretty sizable minion wave going towards the turret, but if she doesn't follow it up, she may not get that turret, and this is almost guaranteed to be Ready Aim Oops' turret.
So Sivir does recall, isn't able to pick up the tower. Lucian with home guard is able to pick it up, as the rest of his team picks up the inner tower on top lane.
Oh, and this time Aatrox gets caught out. Does use Dark Flight to get into a
Right to the Dark Passage.
Yep, Dark Passage. Thank you.
That's a lot of moving. That's a lot of range that you can move so fast with Aatrox Q into the Lantern. Pretty good escape over walls, everything.
Definitely some
They
pretty
got
great
a very
mobility.
safe team.
Looks like Trundle coming into the mid lane to counteract a little bit of this push. Sivir joining him. Red ping's going down into the bot lane as Karma is spotted. This Dragon coming up very shortly, 45 seconds. The aim moves setting up around it.
Both teams are aware.
Yeah, both teams are aware because there was a pretty sizable fight there last time.
Ready Aim Oops was able to get the pink ward down first, and they do have control of this area. Sweeper on the death bush, so they know that nobody knows that Vladimir's there. And they see the 3 men coming in from the bottom lane, with Jarvan down there as well.
Shin picks himself up a nice blue buff, passing that over to Mumu at all. Take it for himself. Ward goes down, looks like they might be trying to bait a fight here, and the Boomerang Blade hits nothing.
Well, everybody knows that everybody is here. So, I expect to either see a really big fight for this dragon, or some kind of weird rotational play. Lulu is mid lane, however, right now.
Sword goes down, probably just for vision, and this is going to be a dead dragon with absolutely no contest. Lulu, though, seems to be trying to wave clear. So
here comes the talisman, though.
Yeah, talisman popped, and Lulu might be in a bad situation now. She does use Whimsy to get herself out of there.
Actually,
and it's actually Trundle who does get caught by the death sentence, is caught up really hard, does manage to throw down the pillar. It gets out of the box before it's able to do anything, and Trundle's going to get out of here without having to trade too much for his life. Does manage to survive. Large push in the top lane, right?
They did blow the box trying to get him down, but that's the only ultimate they used. So overall, the fight's still pretty much even. Like, Sivir ulti's down and they don't have the box. So pretty much ulti for ulti. Karma ultimate will be back up here in a minute, and every other ultimate is up for ready moves on the red side. So this inhibitor tower siege, I don't know if I expect it to end well. I don't think they should be sieging the inhibitor tower this early. They did just lose the top tower to the minions. Pretty massive wave up there, and they do end up backing away with no damage on the tower.
Yeah, and Ready Aim Oops
take some creeps from the jungle.
Ready Aim Oops doesn't really have a great siege team, especially with the amount of wave clear that can come out from Sivir and Lulu with the Boomerang Blade, Glitter Lance, Bouncing Blade, trifecta combo.
Yeah.
That is just a lot of wave clear that unless you've got something that is comparable, you're not going to be able to siege into, or if you do siege into it, you're not going to really have a good time.
With the 2 teleports, though, I could honestly see them running a 1-3-1 split push, where they just have a Mumu, Thresh, and Lucian run up the mid lane and push it as a 3-man unit, while the other 2 people with teleport push the side lanes, and they can teleport to the mid fight or get the towers on the side as needed.
Yeah, and
So
if they are
managed
managed to draw, if they do manage to draw 2 people to either lane, then they both just teleport in and make it a 3v5, and that's just all kinds of bad for people on the 3 side of that.
Unless they can pull off some amazing defense, and there is no Ziggs in this game, so there's no crazy wave clear, just pretty good wave clear.
Yeah, there's absolutely pretty good wave clear from Lulu. Although we don't see Lulu with that Rabadon's death cap yet. Definitely building towards it, but not quite there yet.
We see lots of play on Vision right now, lots of focus on Vision. Everybody's clearing out wards, placing wards, not going anywhere that they might get blown up. Since it's already been a very high kill game, nobody wants to die a bunch more.
It has been a high kill game, and we do see 7 of those kills are on Aatrox with 5 assists. He has a very impressive over 50% kill participation for his team. As does Amumu and Vladimir. And Thresh, actually. And Lucian only barely. So, a lot of high kill participation in this game.
Yeah, it's been kind of a crazy game. People have been roaming, people have been teleporting. There's 3 teleports in the game. And then it's led to this kind of weird mid-game stalemate where nobody feels like they're strong enough to fight yet. So everybody's just kind of farming it, getting gold wherever they can, finishing up a couple more items, and the next objective push should be coming here within the next 3 or 4 minutes, I think.
Although, you know, for people that don't feel very strong, Lucian does have 200 CS, and he does have a Triforce and a Bloodthirster, which is, you know, I'm no expert, but I would say pretty strong. So yeah, I think, pretty strong. And the Spirit Visage Blade of the Ruin King on Aatrox, I would also put in the pretty strong category. So I'm interested to see when Ready Aim Oops feels like they're ready to group up and start taking down, or start engaging on fights. Especially using that AoE death area between Curse of the Sad Mummy and the box. That their team seems to almost be founded on.
It's a very strong AoE like damage, especially with Vladimir in the area. Just able to dump down his ultimate as well and just do so much AoE damage that they can basically just wombo combo the team.
It's a CC-less wombo combo. Well, not quite CC-less, but, you know, Curse of the Sad Mummy's only a partial CC.
Oh, the box is only partial CC too.
That's true.
It's a slow and a snare wombo combo. Curse of the Sad Box.
Curse of the Sad Box.
Emo Plague. Something like that.
And Curse of the Sad Mummy also suppresses your auto attacks.
Yes.
And I think your summoners, but I'm not 100% on that, although I know you can still cast spells while you're in.
Oh, I know you can't flash.
Curse of the Sad Mummy has some of the strangest suppression mechanics I think I've ever seen.
Well, Baron doesn't have any suppression mechanics, and he's getting started on here by readying Oops. Although Jarvan just walked by, he knows this is happening. He's going to throw a flag over the wall and maybe try for a steal?
Yeah, I don't know if I expect him to try for a steal or not. Yes, he is going in for the steal. Does not get it. Red team does pick up Baron Nashor. Curse of the Sad Mummy goes down. Does only hit Jarvan, but that's okay. No, does not. Jarvan does not go down. Although he is chasing very hard onto Lucian. Lucian goes down, and as does Sivir.
Unstoppable.
But Aatrox is just doing an absolute ton of work throughout the entirety of that fight. Bandage toss goes down onto Jarvan. Jarvan goes down, and the only person left standing for Ohana is Karma. And it looks like this is just going to be a hard push straight down the middle with a 4-man Baron. 25-second death timers almost all around. Trundle went down pretty early, so he's going to be up very soon.
He's not going to be able to hold off 3 Baron buffs by himself, though. Not this game. Not quite having that Randuin finish is kind of hurting them, because
Blue team's
with
turret
Lucian and
has been
Aatrox, they're both
destroyed.
very auto-attack based. Well, Lucian's kind of spell-based too. But they focus heavily on auto-attack,
Blue
and
team's
that's
inhibitor has been destroyed.
kind of huge not having that slow.
Yeah, and they actually do have a Randuin's finish on part of Jarvan, but we're just not seeing the same tankiness out of Trundle that we saw last game. Just wasn't able
He's
to...
been kept down a little bit this game.
Yeah, he absolutely has. Not quite able to get snowballing the way he was. Thresh Lantern does go over the wall. Thresh Express into the Dragon Pit.
Red team has slain the dragon.
And Dragon's down.
And that was a Baron into a inhibitor turret, followed by an inhibitor into a dragon. Very good rotating to through objectives by Ready Aim Oops this time. Seeing them playing very strongly this game.
Oh, that lizard.
That lizard was not willing to die there for Jarvan. Jarvan had to go back to finish that off.
He was the Elder Lizard in disguise.
There you go.
So, we're looking at over the 30-minute mark, 31:45 to be exact. We've got a 10k gold lead for Ready Aim Oops. 24 kills to 15. Baron, 3 dragons up, and 3 towers as well. It's gonna be... The game is definitely in their hands right now. They're in the driver's seat. And they've already taken down an inhibitor. They're gonna want to look to push down another lane now. Whether that be top or bottom lane depends on the team calls. Lucian does seem to be going towards the top side of the map, and he's been farming the entire game. He may not have 100% kill participation, but he...
Oh, and we do see Aatrox does get caught out here. Karma uses her mantra to stay close to him, does get the root down, and nobody follows up. And so he turns around and just hits her for it. Says, oh, you want to fight me? Well, that's okay. You're by yourself and you're Karma. Meanwhile, Lucian just split pushing the top lane.
Yeah, he's been off pushing double lift style the entire game. He's been pushing minion waves, picking up creeps in the jungle, fighting 1v1s here and there, getting involved when he needs to, but other than that, he's just been basically making gold. We have kind of a fight about to happen here. Starbucks actually is a little bit cut out.
Yeah, Starbucks does chase really hard to dissuade Lucian from continuing to fight, and Ready Aim Oops uses that as an opportunity to just tighten the noose around his neck.
They all collapsed on him very well. I don't think they saw him until Lucian dropped the ward in that bush. And then it was just too late. He was behind enemy lines.
And this is going to be a really hard siege onto this top turret. And Thresh Express used to get Vladimir into the middle of all of that. Does manage to land his ult onto 3 people. Uses Blood Pool to dodge a lot of damage there. And Sivir's brought down to about half health. And now Lulu taking the brunt of that culling. Vladimir taking tower hits though, and that might not be the optimal choice, but now he's just going to put a lot of damage down on Lulu. Lulu goes down in a hurry as the Dark Flight does land onto her, and Aatrox able to pick that up. Trundle tries to come in and dissuade Aatrox from doing what he's doing, but it's no good, although the Cataclysm is able to pick up Vladimir, but now Sivir forced to pop barrier to run back to base. Although Karma trying to chase Lucian out, doing a fair amount of damage. They were actually able to pick up one Nexus turret on that, and now we have Trundle just trying to clear these minions as the second tower goes down to half health.
The MVP of that fight was probably the spawning fountain and its regen speed. Able to heal them up multiple times, and actually, you know, they were able to hold their second Nexus tower because of it. They were able to run back to base without dying, heal back up, rejoin the fray. That's basically right on your front door. Able to hold off the push and keeps them in this game a little bit. They did lose their middle inhibitor tower, or I mean, I'm sorry, their middle inhibitor just respawned. I somehow had that backwards.
Oh, and we do see a teleport coming into the mid lane. It is Aatrox here to help Lucian with this push over on the bot lane, and they are going for a 3 inhibitor, possibly a full tutorial mode clear here. Although this is a 4v2 push, and that might be dangerous. Relentless Pursuit used to disengage from the pillar.
Lucian almost got caught there. That pillar can be really scary sometimes.
It absolutely can.
It's like range, or I'm sorry, the like width of the pillar's a little weird. Some move blocks don't go all the way over it, and you use it, and you just run right in the pillar, and you're like, oh, well, crap.
Yeah, it can be scary if you're someone not named Lucian. You know, yeah, Lucian.
Somebody who's not Lucian.
He gets all the way clear of the slow, assuming he starts from the midway point, and then the slow doesn't even linger on him for the remainder of its duration.
Because Lucian.
Because Relentless Pursuit does clear slows. So it does seem like. Go ahead.
If you could slow it down, it wouldn't be relentless.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like the amiable pursuit.
It'd be like the half-hearted pursuit, but not really dedicated to this pursuit.
The better luck next time pursuit.
So, Ready Aim Oops, as I look more at their team comp, does seem just to have kind of a team comp that's built around making Trundle irrelevant.
Well.
Oh, and we do see Aatrox is going in onto Jarvan here at the blue buff, and Sivir gets caught out by the rest of Ready Aim Oops, runs around the corner, runs into a Jarvan, gets actually killed by the Trundle putting up a pillar to, I assume, attempt to save her. And this is going to be the second Baron going in favor of Ready Aim Oops, I do believe. And I don't know if Ohana can contest this right now.
They definitely can't. Nobody's in position. They're all the way back there. This is going to be a free Baron pickup for Ready Aim Oops. And they're going to be able to use this to push that inhibitor back up to the inhibitor, maybe pick up the inhibitor and force a fight on that last Nexus Tower. They're going to maybe look to end the game here very shortly if they get a fight they want.
And I think at this point, a fight they want is almost any fight in the game at all. As long as it's not a 1v5.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a couple of key circumstances that can get them killed, but with Sivir being down for another 5 seconds, they just lose their inhibitors again. And there's nothing really they can do about it, and it's going to be up to them to hold at the Nexus.
Yeah, and they are going to have to hold the Nexus, but there are super minions coming in both waves, and they're hardly stopping for almost any time at all. Vladimir taking a lot of turret shots here. Does use his Q to heal up a little bit. Cataclysm goes down onto Lucian. Lucian is forced to flash out the Wild Growth used by Lulu onto Jarvan as well. A lot of resources dedicated to taking out Lucian, but here during on the other side of the fight, it looks like Aatrox is absolutely just going crazy on the rest of the team. Although Aatrox is very low, that blood pool probably going to get popped here. No, it is in fact not. Lulu gets hooked in and brought very low as Aatrox uses her as a source of health. Stun going down onto Trundle, but he is able to make it out. The death sentence going down onto Jarvan, but he doesn't care. And the box is used to zone Sivir out of the rest of this fight. She comes back in, does get caught up by the bandage toss, is brought down. Jarvan uses the EQ combo to get out, and now Trundle is once again in a bad situation as he may be running back to his fountain. Darkflight does stop him. The death sentence hits him right as he gets onto the steps, but he is still able to make it back in. The challenge of getting into the fountain is complete. Now Mumu just tanking this turret as he waits for minions to collapse down onto it. Although Aatrox has decided he is tired of waiting, he's going to go for this turret.
He's going to have his blood well pop though, and that's going to be a lot of attacks he's lost. And the tower's still at half health and it regenerates. Looks like this push is finally pressed back as the respawns come in. Actually, Aatrox is even picked up by the Jarvan EQ ulti combo. That's a 60-second spawn timer on him.
That is a 60-second spawn timer, and that may have just been Ready Aim Oops playing overconfidently. They did have all 3 inhibitor turrets down, so there are going to be double super minion waves coming in, pouring into Ohana's base. But it looks like Ready Aim Oops just stayed in that situation a little bit too long, not focusing the objective, chasing after kills.
Well, they lost their AD carry really early. They weren't able to siege down the tower, and when it came time to hit the tower, they didn't have the tankiness or the damage or the minions to do it. So yeah, they overstayed quite a bit. After Lucian was taken down in that fight, they didn't have much tower pressure. So after the fight happened, they probably should have just left.
Yeah, and that was all, you know, Aatrox got 1v2'd effectively while the rest of the team was fighting a different fight. And that's not something that you can let happen. You got to stay with your AD carry. At least one person needs to be there to help him stay alive.
Yeah. But that being said, I don't see much in the way of comeback here, unless somehow Ohana holds until all 3 inhibitors come back up, and then like Ace Ready Aim Oops and just like shove down mid, take all the buildings. I don't see any other real comeback happening, unless this game can be dragged out another 10-15 minutes. But with only 1 Nexus tower and your Nexus left, it can be a little hard to do.
It is a very, very long shot scenario for Ohana at this point, as Ready Aim Oops once again sets up to siege this tower, which has almost regenerated to full health, but it's not going to matter if they can get a minion wave and their full team in there. Yeah, and here it goes. Down goes that tower. The Wild Growth is used on Trundle to pop up 3 members of Ready Aim Oops. The Vladimir ultimate is used, does also hit 3 members of Ohana, and that one actually does damage, so once again, Ohana rotating in and out of their fountain, picking up regen, trying to hold this base, but it is not going to be enough. The Nexus is going to go down, and a incredibly convincing win by
Ready Aim Oops.
Ready Aim Oops, even though they had an unintentional pick in there. So it just goes to show, you know, mixed blessings, and never doubt what your team comp can do. Very good job of keeping Trundle under control this game, which is not something they were able to do in the last game.
He was not able to get as rolling as he was the last game and just become that beast that you can't deal with. Plus, they didn't have a traditional tank other than a Mumu for him to steal the stats away from. So it wasn't as easy for him to just walk through a front line.
Yeah, and one of the things I always like to look at here is damage dealt to champions. We had 2 people on Ready Aim Oops, Lucian and Vladimir, who both did nearly 30,000 damage to enemy champions.
That's a lot.
That is an absolute ton of damage. And Sivir and Jarvan were the actually Jarvan and Lulu were the 2 primary damage dealers, and just not quite able to make up that difference. Trundle not really doing a whole lot of damage dealt to champions, but maybe taking a lot of damage. Trundle absolutely took a ton of damage. Trundle took the most damage in the game by a very, 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 very wide margin. 50,000 damage taken.
He didn't even die a couple of times.
Yeah, there were a couple of times where he just took a lot of damage and managed to go up and heal it off. So that does it for tonight's games. 1-1 between Ohana and Ready Aim Oops. Very good games on both